But we're about to talk about carbs, all right? Because there's been so many fad diets. There's been so many controversy to carb, to not to carb. Just avoid carbs altogether. And I will tell you, that's not what you need to do. So we're going to talk about that. There's so many different things out there. It's kind of hard to know what to believe. You know, you have the diets that say no carbs, and yeah, maybe initially you lose a lot of weight, but it's not healthy and it's not sustainable, okay? So everyone thinks carbs are bad, right? Well, they're not. They're actually our primary source of energy. Like, that is where people may think protein is. Actually, carbs are our primary source of energy. So we do not need to eliminate them, okay? But there are different types of carbs, okay? You have your complex carbs, and then you have your simple carbs. And then you also have fiber, but I'm gonna go into all of that and just kind of break it down very simple, because I like to keep things simple. It helps me remember things more. Okay, so basically, your simple carb is your sugar, right? Okay, so your simple carbohydrates are basically your sugar that it quickly turns into glucose. Okay, so those are our simple sugars, and I'm going to give you some examples of that here in a little bit. Okay, so it's and those are used for like immediate fuel, or it's stored into what? Fat. You guessed it, right? So, and then you have complex carbs, complex carbohydrates. So these, they're more dense. It takes longer to digest. And these are things like our starches, our grains, our veggies. But it eventually does turn into glucose, and it's either, again, used for fuel or storage, or fat storage. But it digests more slowly. It keeps you fuller longer, and it doesn't spike your blood sugar, okay? So we also have fiber, which is it's not really a carb, but it's still kind of classified as one. And, you have your insoluble fiber, your soluble fiber, whether it's broken down or not, but they're both super important for a healthy gut, right? Y'all know, fiber gotta help things moving. Keep things moving, if you know what I mean, okay? So basically, your fiber and your complex carbs, those are our healthier choices, okay? The simple carbs you really want to avoid, okay? How do we figure out, like, what are the healthier carbs, okay? Any of y'all maybe back in high school or something heard of the glycemic index? Basically, it's this scale, it's this chart that kind of associates this arbitrary number to the most common carbohydrates, and to kind of help you decide or help you figure out if it's healthy or not, okay? So basically that number corresponds with if that really boosts your blood sugar levels, and you don't want that. You don't want to spike your blood sugar levels. That's not good, because then that makes your insulin produce, and I won't go into all that, but you don't want the spikes in your blood sugar, okay? So, rule of thumb, the glycemic index, that little arbitrary number associated with a carb, is less than 55, then you're good. It's a healthier carb, okay? If it's between 55 and 69, 59 and 69, it's moderately healthy. And if it's above 70, then that's like not really good for you because glucose is 100. So glucose is our sugar, our raw sugar. That's our 100 mark, which we don't want. So anything 70 and over, you want to try to avoid, or limit everything in moderation, right? Because if we deprive our body of everything that we want, then we tend to binge, right? Who binges if they don't have their sweets every now and then? Me, I do. I know I do. Drop in the comments. What are y'all's? What's the things that it's so hard for you to stay from? A simple carb, such as anything with the sugars, and I'm about to list some ones you should avoid. Okay, but first I'm going to give you some examples of this glycemic index. Okay, just to kind of give you. I'm not going to name every carb there is. It's just a few. Just give you an idea, maybe where you stand in your eating pattern. Okay. So, for example, kale has a glycemic index of 5. That's pretty healthy, right? Broccoli is a 10. Raspberries are a 30. Whole milk is 31. So that's not that bad, right? Oatmeal is 55. So it is creeping into that moderate range, right? Watermelon, what do y'all think watermelon is? Y'all think it's above that 70? Well, it is. 72. And then white bread. White bread. Can anyone guess what white bread is on the glycemic index? 100. 100. What? That's crazy. But it is. So that's why I know wheat bread's not as good, but there are some really good wheat bread options out there, y'all. Really. Y'all should try them. Branch out. So, carbs to avoid. The simple carbs you really want to try to avoid. And a lot of it's just added into our, especially the American diet, if I have any overseas friends on, but the American diet has all these added, the brown sugar, raw sugar, glucose, fructose, sucrose, corn syrup. That's why it's so important to read your labels, because if that stuff is in there, it's just not, and especially if it's in the top, the first few ingredients, that tells you it has a lot, right? So, simple carbs to avoid: sodas, Cokes, packaged cookies, right? Packaged things that are really processed. Fruit juice concentrate. So you really want to get the 100% juice options. You don't want fruit juice concentrate. And then one that I wasn't really happy to see that I found, breakfast cereals. I love cereal. And there are some healthier options out there, but breakfast cereals are not the best things to eat as far as carbs, okay? And the complex carbohydrates that you do want to start to include, or you want to include in your diet: whole grains, fiber-rich fruits, of course, like apples, bananas. And bananas, though, it does have a lot of sugar, I'll tell you. Bananas have, I believe, 14 grams of sugar in one banana. That's a lot. That's probably why a lot of people like them, because they're sweet. But you got to be careful of that because of the bananas. Because of the sugar. Fiber-rich vegetables, such as broccoli, carrots, or leafy greens. We all know that, right? And then like beans, which is also a good source of protein. So our beans has full of folate, iron, potassium. So those are some of the complex carbs that you do want to eat. And like I said, they are our primary source of energy. So please, please do not cut them out. Now, depending on exactly what you're wanting to do, if you're wanting to lose weight, if you're, looking to bulk up, there is everyone is different. So it's kind of hard to give a one-stop shop formula for how much you should have. But when you do have your carbs, try to pick the complex carbs. You're gonna be more full. They're gonna take slower to digest. They're not gonna spike your blood sugar, which is the big thing. And I know a lot of y'all might know that I do intermittent fasting. I love intermittent fasting, and part of that is, again, it keeps that your blood sugar from spiking. But that's the whole nother life. But that's one of the great things about intermittent fasting, is that you don't have those spikes of blood sugar. And because when you do that, then that's what your body uses for fuel, and it doesn't use your fat storage. So it goes for that simple, easy, quick sugar that's in your blood. And if you have that all the time, for one thing, you're producing that insulin, but your body is using that instead of using your fat storage, and therefore you cannot lose the weight if that's what you're going for, okay? So the simple carbs to avoid, I said the complex carbs you should eat more of. And basically just remember, simple carbs is like your sugars, basically your sugars. Complex carbs is, eat your starches, your grains, your veggies. So pick more of that. Do not drop carbs off your diet. I'm telling you, it's not sustainable. It's not healthy. It is your primary source of energy. You need the carbs. Please have carbs. It's okay. I hope that y'all got some value out of that. Let me know, #value. If you got value, feel free to smash that share button. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Be happy to answer them, get back to you. And I hope that you have a great Wednesday. Bye.